I'm 21, 22, these are all 18. I'm like, I want to learn how to act, not be a fucking tree. I hadn't even left drama school. I had 2 professional credits under my name. This acting's a piece of piss. I probably had about 20, 25 grand in my account. I just went like that.
Love it.
Yeah, of course. I'd done 3 jobs. I was like, this is easy. Then that was it, the phone didn't ring for 18 months. What have you been in before this? Me a bit chuffed, you know, because I was like, oh, the latest season, I'm Mount Pleasant, Stevie. Mount Pleasant, that's fucking shit.
How did you navigate that initial, like, so what do I do?
You? Because I didn't know what limited company was, didn't know what VAT was, didn't know all these things.
And Disney was paying you a small fortune at that time.
Disney was paying me a small fortune.
How'd you get into acting? What was it? What was your first sort of like love affair with it? Or did you
My English teacher.
Was it?
Yeah, she was fit.
Yeah.
Miss Griffiths.
Oh yeah.
She was lovely. And then, yeah, the school said they weren't going to have me back. Well, what happened was I wouldn't do my work. And then she said, look, here's a monologue here. This will go towards a certain amount of your exams. I was like, all right, yes, sounds. And it was, well, I just thought I'll spend more time with Miss Griffiths, you know, like as she's directing this monologue. So anyway, it was about a young lad growing up with his dog and the dog dying. And he comes home from school and the dog's bowling his ball and its lead and all that. So when it came to doing the monologue, the woman who was examining me at the end of it, she was like an older lady. She's like that crying. I was like, you're all right, love, come here. You know, 15, 16, it's like a bit cheeky. I was like, come here, love, you're all right. She was like, my dog died. She was like, and I've still got his lead and his collar. She's like, and it just rings home. And I was like, oh, yes, so, well, you're all right, kind of thing. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, me and my mate Crabbo and Kate were walking down the corridor. We were up to no good. And Miss Lally was like, James Joyce, get in here. And I was like, I'm on my way to class, miss, I promise. She was like, come here. I said, oh, what is it? She went, this speaking and listening exam you've just done. She was like, you've just been given the highest mark in the Northwest ever given. Yeah. I was like, oh, all right, thought nothing of it. And then, I remember when the school said they weren't going to have me back, and I'd done like, started doing drama, because like, it was full of girls. Yeah. And then she was like, what are you going to do? I said, oh, I don't know. Because there was one time I blagged it that I wanted to be a physio, just so I could go into Melwood for the day. Like, you know. And I was like, she was like, I think you should be an actor, like, look at that mark. And I was like, oh. She was like, you should go to Liverpool Community College round the corner. So she took me there, and it was like, either go on a building site with a load of very arse fellas, and turn up at this community college.
And there's girls pouring out of it.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, and I was like, 30 quid a week coming here. I was like, come here. And then, yeah, just got lucky from there, like, just, I'd never seen a play until, God, I was still about 20, 21, never read a book. And it was just one of those things. It was Miss Griffiths, and she kind of like, if she'd never put that monologue in front of me.
You'd never.
Yeah,
and you know where you'd be.
She saw something. I used to just put accents on in class to show off, you know, get her attention and all that. And it got to one point where I was that disruptive. She made me, like, you know, sit on a desk. That was even better for me, because I was just like that looking at her.
Have you seen her since?
No, I should really go into it. Yeah.
You're still at school?
I think so.
Yeah,
I was going to ask, because she messaged you.
From there, what was your first paid job? Or
you still at college? So at Liverpool Community College, I was there for like 5.5 years, because I had no GCSEs or nothing. And so then I went to drama school, and when I went to drama school, it was like, let's get out of Liverpool and, like, you know, expand a little bit, because I was just stuck in a rut of just being stupid. Anyway, first term of drama school, they go to you, oh, you know, be a tree and, you know, make all these weird noises. And I'm like, I'm 21, 22, these are all 18. I'm like, I want to learn how to act, not be a fucking tree. And anyway, they tried to kick me out, because I was questioning everything. And I was fortunate, like, the actual acting teacher was like, nah, keep him in, he's all right. So when it came to third year now, that's when you do all your shows to the public and they invite agents and producers and directors and all that. So I got an agent pretty early on, and my first ever audition was for a Richard Curtis film called About Time. And I remember I got the job, and I'd signed with a big agent, a big agency, and I started to notice jealousy. I was like, fuck, like, I don't want jealousy, I just want to crack on.
Is that from like your peers and your mates and everyone around you? Yeah.
Were you quite different to the people?
Yeah, I was very different. Like, I was 21, they were all a bit younger. I just wanted to, like, you know, go there, get an agent and
get
be an actor.
Yeah.
And everyone else was like, you know, doing a line of coke for the first time, you know, or like, you know, they were kids. Whereas I was just like, let's get this done. And half of them were posh kids, you know what I mean? Like, Monday to Friday, you were in drama school till like 6, 7 o'clock at night. Well, after that, I was living in London. I'd have to go and work a job overnight and then work in Reese clothes shop of a weekend, you know what I mean? So I knew why I was there. Anyway, so I got this film with Richard Curtis, and in it was Rachel McAdams and Bill Nighy and all that. That was my first ever acting job. And I remember I got on set and I was like, all revved up and all that. Didn't know how to hit a mark. Didn't know you were sat around waiting all day. You know, all these things. And I remember going into drama school the next day and going, why haven't you taught us all this? Yeah, you've taught us to project and, you know, be articulate in movements and all that, but I didn't know what I was doing on set.
Not taught you how to be an actor.
The practical side.
Yeah.
TV, film side of things.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, my first job, you know, Rachel McAdams, she's a big Hollywood actress. Anyway, so got that. I hadn't even left drama school yet. It was the last season of Shameless. Well, I got the last 2 episodes of that, and I hadn't even left drama school. I had 2 professional credits under my name. I was like, what's everyone going on about? This acting's a piece of piss. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, me dressing room was next to Frank Gallagher's, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, this is mad. And like, then that happened. Then I left drama school, and I had, you know, I probably had about 20-25 grand in my account. It was the first time I had, you know, fair bit of money.
Yeah, in your account.
I just went like that.
Blew it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We'll speak about tax then.
Do you remember what you bought from it? Do you remember one purchase that you bought out of that?
For myself?
Yeah.
Oh, I just bought everyone else's bevies. Yeah, honestly. Everyone else's bevies. And then like a BBC 3 job came in called In the Flesh. So within the space of like 7 or 8 months, I'd done 3 jobs. I was like, this is easy. Then that was it, the phone didn't ring for 18 months. Like, never mind getting a job, not even an audition.
No way.
That's crazy.
I was going to myself, what's going on here, do you know? Like, it was bit.
And were you still signed to the big agency at the time? And what sort of stuff were they feeding you? Like, because you obviously get to a point where you go, where the fuck are the jobs?
That was the predicament I was in, because it was a big agency, it was one of the big ones in the country. I was saying to myself things like, well, I'm not really going to get an agent this established. It's kind of like, you know, being in the Liverpool setup, but really and truly, you're 23 and you're still playing for the under-18s or whatever. You're not getting that chance to get into the squad. So I remember, like, my ex-girlfriend had split up with me. I was in a mess. And I just phoned up one day and I was like, I want to come in the office. She was like, okay. So I went in the office and I said, Maxine, can I see what you submit me for, please? She was like, oh, we don't really show submissions lists. I was like, okay, I said, but I want to see because I've not had an audition in 18 months. My head was up my arse. And I left that room and I was like, she's not submitting me for anything.
Yeah.
So then I thought, I'm not going to leave them and go to a smaller agency. There's 5, 6 or 7 agents that, you know, big reputable names. So I had 2 or 3 meetings and then I signed with United. So United represent the likes of Kate Winslet, Eddie Redmayne, you know, big clients. And I got Little Boy Blue. And I'd done, you know, an episode on Vera, an episode in Casualty, Mount Pleasant. And then I'd done Little Boy Blue And previous to that, I'd met Stephen Graham in Nando's. Everyone knows this story, you know. And we'd done the table read and we've got all the actors there. And I just felt his eyes burning in my head like that. And he went, "You're that lad from Nando's?" I went, "Yeah." Well, that's like, you know, a kid who loves football, Steven Gerrard going,
Yeah.
"Well done, lad." And I was just like, whoa, he remembers me. And then towards the end of the shoot, I remember I got a knock on my trailer door one day. And one of the runners went, "Stevie wants to have a word with you in his room." Well, it was a big court scene in Little Boy Blue, and they'd said to us, like, "Don't hold back." And I was like, okay. Because Reese's dad and his brother were sat there at the beginning. So obviously you're respectful, aren't you? Mm-hmm. But the director was like, "Don't hold back. You've done your research. You know the characters inside out." And Reese's dad and his brother only lasted half an hour in the courtroom. So we do this, and it was in the actual courts where the sentencing happened. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I go into Stevie's room. He's like, "All right, lad, you all right?" I was like, "Yes." He's like, "I just want to say," like, and said a load of compliments to me. I was like, "Oh, ta Stevie." And he goes, "What have you been in before this?" Me a bit chuffed, you know, because I was like, "Oh, the latest season of Mount Pleasant, Stevie." "Mount Pleasant? That's fucking shit, that lad." You know, through the window, out of style. And then he goes, "What have you been auditioning for while you've been on this?" I went, "Nothing." And he went, "Fucking shite, that lad." And I went, "I know, Stevie, but I'm not you. Martin Scorsese, he doesn't phone me, do you know?" And he was like, "Look, I've only ever done this once before." He says, "I've done it for an actress called Jodie Comer, have you heard of it?" And I went,
Yeah.
"Yeah, of course." And he said, "I'm going to put you in touch with my agent, Jane Epstein." And I wrote to her when I was at drama school. I said, "Oh, okay, cool." So a meeting got set up between me, Jane and Maddie. I went in the room and Jane said to me, "Great, blah, blah, blah." She was like, "Send me your show reel over." So I sent me show reel over. I didn't hear off her for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Well, she phoned me. And I knew it was Jane's number because I'd saved it in my phone as independent. This is how bad it was, actually. I'm dyslexic. So when I'd sent the original email, I'd fucking spelled independent wrong on the email. You know? And I was thinking, I've not heard back from them, and I realised I'd done it wrong. Anyway, 3 weeks later, she phones me and I was like, fucking hell, she plays hard to get, so I'll play hard to get here. So I picked up the phone and went, "Oh, hello, stranger." Bear in mind, this lady represents Stephen Graham, Rachel Weisz, Jodie, Sean Bean, you know, the cream of the crop, and she's only got 40 clients. And I went, "Hello, stranger." And she's like, "Look, we spoke to people at Little Boy Blue, the producers, they've sung your praises, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Great." She was like, "And we watched your show reel," and I went, "Yeah." And she was like, "But I was very underwhelmed." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "All you played in it is like drug dealers and scallies and this, that and the other." And she was like, "And I've got a lad sat across from me who's very charming and charismatic and all these things." And I was like, "I know, but Jane, I only get seen for the, you know, the drug dealers and the handbag snatchers."
Yeah.
She's like, "I know, we need to change that. We need to change how the industry looks at you." I was like, "Okay, so you want to take me on?" She was like, "Yeah." I said, "I tell you what," I said, "send me 2 contrasting self-tapes, one posh and one whatever. I'll send the self-tapes in to you. If all you've seen me do is bad boy, send me something more sensitive or vulnerable, or... And if I do it and you want me, great." And she was like, "No, don't worry about it. I've spoke about it." So I backed myself.
Yeah.
She was like, "But we are going to have to knock these roles back on their head." She was like, "So I'll just warn you, like, the next role you do, it can't be bad boy, you know." I was like, "Okay, cool." But it was nice that someone believed in me like that. So Jane and Maddie took me on. And I remember this play come through called Le Grand Mort. It was a 2-hander. And it was like a 90-page, 100-page script at the Trafalgar in the West End. And this character was camp and loud and big and brash. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Go into the audition room now. Every lad in there is like fucking Abercrombie and Fitch model, 6'2", you know, jaw on them, big abs and all that. I thought, what the fuck am I doing here? So I thought, I can only, you know, do what I can do. So we'll go in, and the casting director and the director's there, and I went, I think I've walked in the wrong room here, haven't I? I went, have you seen them lot out there? And they went, what? I went, fucking little me. And them out there, I was like, I'm about 5'2" in there. So I had them in the palm of my hands. And I left the room and I thought, well, that went kind of well. So then got a recall. Now, the last 10 pages of this play, the character gets fully naked on stage. No. So I thought at some point they're going to ask me to get my cock out, aren't they? Because they're not going to have me getting on stage, you know, with a little cock and all that. Because he's going, is this what you want? Is this what you want? I thought, all right. So I go into the audition, do the scenes and all that, and I go, just want to see me cock? No, and they went, what? Well, I know I've got to get naked. And they went, no, you don't. I was like, that hasn't just cost me the job, has it? And they went, no. I was like, all right, Sam. Anyway, the agent phoned me, she was like, you've got the job. I was like, fucking great, it's something different. But it was like 330 quid a week. Yeah. Now, by the time you paid your tax and your agents took the cut, you're left with fuck all. You're left with fuck all. And you're doing 8 shows a week. And it's a sold out theatre. And it's just you and him on stage. And I remember thinking, fucking hell, this is going to be a graft. But it was boss. And it opened more doors for me and people started to see more things. But the big problem I've got is I know how I look. You know, I know that. And I know what I've portrayed so far on camera. That everyone, you know, wants me for them roles. So I'm kind of lucky the last, 2 years I've been able to do other stuff and, you know, flex my teeth and show my actual vulnerable and sensitive side.
Did you enjoy doing the theatre? Was that your first West End gig?
Yeah, that was
yeah,
I loved it.
Actors love doing theatre. It's like instant gratification, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're on your toes and, I don't know, your other actor might forget a line, or you might forget a line, or a prop goes into the table and it won't come out the table. You know, things happen in the moment. Yeah. So you're on your feet, whereas with telly,
if you say the wrong lines, you just go back to it.
Well, the problem with telly is, I prefer doing television, but the problem you've got with it is you have no control over the edit. So no matter how good your take is, or whatever you did, at the end of the day, it's the director's call on what people see on camera.
Exactly.
And you can shoot a scene 10, 15 different ways. But whereas in theatre, you've got the audience in the palm of your hands. You can make them wait, you can pause, you can stand there as long as you want. You can flip it, you know what I mean? Whereas with TV, once you've shot it, you've got no control.
No control, yeah.
So they're two totally different crafts, really.
Yeah, a lot of actors say that, but I think a lot of actors, when they do a big stint in a big movie or a big stint in a series, they like to go back to the to the theatre because it just feels like it's get back to the roots sort of thing.
So on this, I'm working with Saoirse from Derry Girls, and there's a play called Translations. Now, I'll say it, I'm not asked. The Everyman, that's a waste of a space at the minute. Nothing goes on in there, and it's like you've revamped it. You've had all this money pumped into it, but all you want to put is touring shows or shit comedians. It's like, put something on
plays
there.
On,
put plays on there. And plays that people want to see, you know. At the end of the day, all right, people do want to see Romeo and Juliet and people, but there's also an audience that want to see good Irish plays or good Scouse plays, you know, and not just the classics, but the contemporary classics or new writing. So I said to Saoirse, I was like, we need to go to them. There's a Brian Friel play called Translations, which is basically about when the English settled in Ireland and they started to strip the Irish of the language. But this English soldier falls in love with an Irish-speaking woman. And that's where Translations comes from. And it's gorgeous play. And I was like, Saoirse, we should do that. But so we'll have to go there with it, but we'll see.
Interesting. So after the West End, did you find the roles more diverse after that?
Not really. I mean,
did it sort of revert back to sort of type, or did you hold out for stuff? Because that's a difficult part, isn't it, as an actor, is that you know what direction you want to go in, and the roles come in and you think, well, I need to eat. Exactly. So I need to take a job, but it's that sort of balance in acting. I don't want to go down that road.
After that, I done a film called The Sound of Philadelphia, and it's also called Brothers by Blood, depending on which country you're in. So I've done that. That was a Philly film about like gangs. Once again, but it was a film, and I was working with like Matthias Schoenhertz and Joel Kinnaman and that. Joel's in Marvel films. And, you know. That was a good experience. And then time came in. Well, it's Jimmy McGuffin. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And if it's one line, I'm doing it. He's the best writer in the country by a mile. So then time, but at this time I'm still working in like Argos, Barry's Boot Camp, working all over the place, you know.
See, people would never know that because they
yeah.
think, because you know you've been in plays and then you've been on shows and films that your life's set now.
I remember Little Boy Blue had come out and I was in work the next day on Argos. Someone went, especially because I was living down in London, they were like, "Was you on the telly last night?" I went, "What? No." And she went, "That Little Boy Blue, the one about Rhys Jones." And I was like, "Oh no, that's my cousin, he's an actor, blah blah blah." Because I just felt like, not demoralised, because it's not the right thing to say, but I felt like I'm not a proper actor because I'm working a part-time job. But really and truly,
you are.
You are.
Yeah.
And the money isn't all that, is it? Yeah, I think people think it is. You know, think you're on TV. You're a millionaire. You're a millionaire.
And you're not, and you might not work for another 6 months, and you know, especially you get told, don't you? You've got to live in London. Well, you rent down there, your tube fares, your food, and everything. It's expensive. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't until time, really, when time came out, then that's when like Jane and Maddie were like, it's our turn now to show you the roles we can get you in for. And, I mean, you still got to do your business. We were about to go and shoot time, then COVID happened. The first, you know, where you could break it, where you could film. We went and filmed, but it was like, you know, people coming on set with rulers. You're not allowed to be that close and all that, and you're like, I'm not fucking acting. How am I supposed to intimidate someone from over here? Come on. So we shot it, and it was like me, Sean Bean, and Jack McMullen on the second day of filming shot this scene, and the extra tested positive for COVID. So then we had to isolate for 10 days in this hotel in Shrewsbury. So it was like we were actually doing, you know, bad, because we had to be locked in this hotel room. They wouldn't bring us food on plates. It was like cardboard plates with plastic cutlery. You know,
so it was like prison.
But me and Jack McMullen, our rooms were next door to each other, so we used to just climb around the window. It was like clockwork, 4 o'clock every afternoon. We'd sit down, put tipping points on with a hot chocolate. It was great. It was great, but yeah. And then anyway, when time came out, Maddie and Jane were just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, they fought for me to get seen for that, and they fought for me to, you know, do the play and other roles. And then that was it then. Jane and Maddie were just like I tell Jane and Maddie, yous are never retiring, ever. They're the best thing, well, Stephen Graham's the best thing to ever happen to my career. But I would never have Jane and Maddie if it wasn't for Stephen.
Yeah.
And he does it like he's done it for Jodie, he does, you know, he's the most kind-hearted person ever.
What's it been like filming with him, you know, in an actual production?
So Little Boy Blue, we only had a couple of scenes, but not really much. Then time, we didn't really have much together. Then we had a tiny bit in the Shane Meadows Virtues thing, and then this thing that's coming out in January, 1,000 Blows, the new Stephen Knight drama. That was a full year. What happened was, mad. He phoned me in March and he was like, "What are you doing next year?" This was like 2 years ago. And I went, "I don't know." He was like, "Do you want to play my brother in this new Stephen Knight thing?" I went, "Yeah, of course." Stephen Knight, you know, the fighter of Peaky Blinders. "Yeah, of course." He was like, "Well, you'll have to audition, lad, but it's 2 real life brothers and the Cockneys and this, that and the other. How's your Cockney accent?" I was like, "Yes, it sounds." So then I did have to audition for it, but it's a Disney Plus series. And so it's Stephen Knight, everyone, after Peaky Blinders, everyone wants to be in his. And I remember audition after audition after audition. And then the last audition was like a chemistry reading with me and Stephen. And this is weird, and this is the gospel truth. I turn up at the chemistry reading, and we're wearing the exact same clothes. We hadn't even spoke about it. And that's the gospel truth. The only thing we had different on was different coloured Yeezys. That was it. So anyway, there was this scene where, the way it was written, I had to get a reaction out to Stephen. And it had to get him to a point. And I said to the casting director, I know him that well, can I just try something? And she went, yeah, go ahead, we've got the other takes. I just didn't say the lines. I just ignored them. And I remember thinking, this is either going to get me the job or it's not, but it is going to show the chemistry we have, because to be able to, with an actor of that calibre who's worked with Al Pacino and, you know, fucking everyone, it shows the brave, I'm brave and we have that, and I just ignored him. And it got to a point where he just fucking grabbed me, and he knew he could do it with me, do you know what I mean? And you could just feel that electricity in the room, and I thought, well, that's either going to get me the job or not. Either the writer's going to get offended at the fact that I didn't say his words, or the fact that I knew what I could get out of Stephen. He got the job. I was working on it for a year, and it's like a 1880s period piece about two bare-knuckle boxers from southeast London who get approached by Lord Lonsdale to go into boxing. And the other two main storylines is there was a gang of women called the 40 Elephants, and they used to run East End London, they were nuts. And then the other storyline is a guy called Hezekiah Moscow, who's your first black British boxer. So it's about how when he came over, he wanted to be a lion tamer. He turned up at Regent Zoo, and the zookeeper was like, yeah, there's lions over here, mate. Come over here. And he goes like that, he opens the cage and goes, fuck off, throws him in the cage. And he locked him in an empty cage. And Hezekiah Moscow for a bit was
an attraction.
And so it's like opening all these doors, and then eventually when it's, you know, bare-knuckle boxing and whatever you'll see in the story, but yet working with him, it was just like a gift, because all right, I've been doing this 13 years, but you've still got to watch and learn and take everything in. And he's just, the way he treats people on set, the way he talks to people, the way he's open to ideas, from whether if you're the executive producer or whoever, he's just so welcoming, and you're like, okay, he's the captain, he leads by example, so everyone else should behave like that. And he's just, I'm in love with him. And he just learned so much. Proper fella. And then, so while we were on that job, he got offered the part that I'm playing now. He was like, no, I'm too busy, blah, blah, but I think James should do it. I was like, they're not going to go with me. You know, to lead in a BBC drama, the lead, and I was like, they're never going to go with me. So I met for this role in July. I didn't get offered it till February the following year. That's how long I was auditioning for, because I had to win them over because I didn't have a celebrity profile. And I understand it, you have to sell a product. At the end of the day, a drama is a product. If you see, I don't know, fucking George Clooney's in a drama, you go, oh, there's that George Clooney drama.
You're gonna watch it.
It's very clever how they do it. So the fact that they were brave enough to take a chance on me, I'm forever grateful, and you know, I'm knackered. I'm very tired, but I'm loving it.
How you found it playing the lead?
You don't realise how, and this isn't me being a wanker going, oh, it takes over your life. I'm not being that wanker. I'm just saying, you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you get home at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you're looking at your lines for the next day. That's Monday to Friday, and then Saturday to Sunday, you're looking at your lines for the following week. And then you're getting rewrites on top, and then when you're on set, you've got a bit of press to do, or you've got costume fittings for the next week, or you've got makeup checks, and you've got all this, and you go, oh my God, but it's what we want to do, isn't it?
That's what you wanted.
There are millions of actors out there who are better than me. I'm just very fortunate that I've been, you know, gifted the opportunity, but I'm loving it.
You're loving it?
Yeah, loving it.
Thanks, Mrs. Griffith.
But it is hard work.
Yeah. I don't think people realise that, how much hard work, and you touched on it before, how much sitting around there is on a set. People think you just go in, it's the most exciting thing in the world. You sit around all day.
Because I've done a couple of days with you, and it's like, you're up at like 4, in for like 6, you'll sit around till 12, then film for some hours, then rest, sort of. It's a break for lunch, and then you film some more, and then.
And it's not glamorous like eating lunch. It's like, if you're not on set, you're usually on location, aren't you? And you're like, that's sat on a with a cardboard box, and everyone thinks it's this big glamorous lifestyle. It's not. And you shoot on average 4 to 5 pages a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it probably isn't. But the thing with those 4 or 5 pages is, think how many different takes you're doing. You've got your wide, you've got your close-ups, you've got your mids, you've got your twos, you've got all that. So you're shooting the same scene about 40, 50 times, repetitively. You can't lose that energy, and you don't want to be, when it's on the other actor, just reading it in, because that's selfish.
No, you've got to keep the...
So you've got to keep your energy up. And that's the thing with a lot of people, like I've got my sisters phoning me, like, they're not bad, but they're like, oh, we haven't seen you in ages, my mum's doing the same, my dad's doing the same, and my missus is on my case because the house is a tip or whatever, and but I have to do the work. So I've been on this job now since the end of March. We're now in September, we'll finish end of September. Before that I was doing Black Mirror. So my year went like this. I was in London filming from January to March. I was in London. I got the train up. I spent 8 hours in Liverpool, flew to Tenerife. I finished off the season 2 of The Gold in Tenerife, and then straight from Tenerife I flew to Marbella, and I started filming the next day on this in Marbella. So I've hardly been home this year. I mean,
you've had hardly any break in between.
I've hardly had a break in the last 2 years, but now I'm home filming in Liverpool. I'm not really home because, I'm getting
you're at work.
I'm getting home at like 8, half 8.
And you don't realise how draining the whole thing is, do you? People don't realise it's mentally
don't get me
draining.
wrong, look, I'm not.
You're not down the
I'm
mine.
not. I'm not complaining. I'm not. But it is.
Yeah.
It's
because you're right. You're repetitively doing the same scene 20 times.
Yeah. And people think, once you get home from set that you worked on. It's not, because you don't shoot like in chronological order. So your first scene of the whole job could be scene 28 of episode 2. So you need to know how your character gets to that, So there is a lot of work to it. And well, look, I'm not moaning, it's the best job in the world. It is the best job.
So you're saying when you was in acting school, they didn't really prep you to actually be an actor and get your head around what it's like to be in a production, whether it's TV or film. So have you pretty much just had to learn a lot of it on the job?
Don't get me wrong, they taught you well for theatre, how to, not lose your voice, and how to be articulate through your body on stage, and how to dissect the text and all that. But if there's someone at the back and I need to be big enough so that they can see that I'm moving. Whereas if I'm on telly, all I need to do is give the slightest little move in my eyes to let them know the same intention. But they don't teach you that at drama school. So I would say, if there's kids out there that want to do, TV acting, don't fucking bother with drama school. You're going to get yourself into a shitload of debt. You are, you know what I mean? And try and get into little short films or audition or practice. I don't know. I mean, there's loads filming in Liverpool now, and it's great. It's great for the city. It's great for the young Scouse actors. But yeah, don't go to drama school, I would say.
Yeah, there's a really good pool of young Scouse and existing Scouse actors that have come through the realms, and obviously you being one of them.
Have you found it to be quite of a barrier in terms of being northern as opposed to?
Look, we all have to thank our lucky stars for the likes of Stephen Graham, Jodie Comer, Stephen Walters, Drew Schofield, Bobby's dad. There was a point where any criminal on telly was played by a Scouser. Now you've got Stephen and Jodie, fucking shooting films all around the world, and you've got Bobby and you've got Jack McMullen. You've got all these little Darcy Shaw. You've got all these brilliant actors. There's a proper little crop of Scouse actors, and you're going, now we just need that opportunity for someone to go, oh yeah, let him play the Doctor. I mean, Stephen's got the profile, Jodie can, Stephen Walters can, and all that. I think audiences now are getting more used to a Scouse accent in a character, and not just going to that stereotypical, he's a thief, he's a criminal, you know what I mean? Manx can play doctors, Brummies can play doctors. Well, so can Scousers.
Yeah.
There are Scouse doctors out there. Just, you know, and it is thanks to Jodie and Stephen that we're getting these doors opened, and you know, we're lucky because they have opened, and they're not just, you know, they don't pull a little ladder up behind them. They help people, the good people.
So I mean, obviously you obviously come from a working class background, and as does Stephen, as does a lot of Scouse actors. You know, there's no real money in Liverpool. There's no, you know, there's a lot of actors who have come through and you know are deemed to be privileged. You know, there's a lot of Oscar winners, British actors. So do you kind of feel like there's a sort of an uptick in the amount of working class actors in the business?
I think the problem we've got is there was a report recently. 6%. There's only 6% of working class actors in the industry, and I think
that UK or worldwide?
UK. So that's 6%. And I remember being at drama school, and I remember going, you know, I've got this work to do, but yet I've got to go and work in a bar to pay me rent, and then I've got to go and work of a weekend to be able to, you know, pay for my food. And my family would help out where they can, but we haven't got that money. And you look at theatre price tickets, it's like 150 quid in the West End to go and watch a show. Drama school to audition there, it's 65 quid a school. I mean, you have to pay to audition for a drama school. I think it's ridiculous. Then you've got to get your train fare down and your coach, and then drama's getting cut from secondary schools across the UK, like all these things, and it's like, our best and loved actors in this country, like Stevie and Jodie, that's who audiences love. But in the same token, and also the other big problem I've got with this industry is, big problem. You watch Happy Valley, James Norton's a brilliant actor. I'm not digging at him at all, I'm really not. What I'm saying is he's from an elite background, but he's allowed to play down. Whereas, how many working class, Jack O'Connell for example, how many times have you seen Jack play upper class? Jack can do it, but he doesn't get the opportunity because there's a
stigma.
Yeah, there's a stigma, and it's boring because Stevie, Jack, Jodie, and I can carry on naming them all. They're phenomenal actors, and you just don't get the chance. Bobby Schofield, like, you hear Bobby do his accents, and all you ask for ever is an opportunity. That's whether you're a footballer, a tiler, a plumber, whatever, just an opportunity. But the industry doesn't really give you that. But if you're a posh kid, because they know to sit up straight, I'm sure they know to slouch, but they don't. The thing what they don't know is they don't know when reading a script, oh, why is the mum working all these hours, and why are the kids at home on their own? You know, they can't break the text down to know what it's really like. And or choosing between a kid walking to school and being able to buy a school dinner, or getting a bus home, you know, and just having a packet of crisps for the dinner or something. And that's what infuriates me. And then it's, don't get me on my high horse.
Have you found that to be like an issue in some of the productions you've done, whereby, you know, a writer's put something together and you're looking at it thinking, this isn't really how it would go?
All the time. Yeah. No, that's bad to me. But you look at Jimmy McGovern, right? You look at Jimmy's work. You look at, you know, The Street, Time, the Hillsborough one he's done. He knows the nuances of working class families, and 9 times out of 10 it comes down to finances. You know, people deal drugs because they're skint, not because they want to do it. People go into criminality because they're skint. People work long hours and are unable to be there for the kids all the time because they're skint. Jimmy gets that. But as you look at some writers, and I'm not naming names, they just think they're bad people because they're dealing drugs. They think they're bad people because they're not at home with the kids, helping them with their own work.
What's the lack of opportunity? They see it as a lack of opportunity, and that's the only opportunity to get out the hole they're in, isn't it, and to provide a better life. And people don't realise that unless you come from a working class background.
I didn't know I could be an actor, do you know what I mean? I'm from Walton Vale. Like, If I said to my mates I wanted to be an actor, they'd have leathered me.
I didn't know I could be an accountant from Kirby.
But you can be anything you want. But everyone from our area wanted to play footy, box, or
Yeah, let's keep it real.
Really, they were the three opportunities to make money. Whereas now, I'd like to think that you see me, Bobby, Jack, little Darcy, everyone, Jodie, oh, they're a scouser. I can be on the telly.
Yeah.
But I want them to see that you don't have to just be on the telly. You can write, you can direct, you can go into costume, you can go into set building, and you can travel the world doing it. And that's what I want, like, local kids to know. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty amazing what you've done, mate. And I think it's a big testament to get to where you've got from a working class background. Because I don't think people realise how hard it is to get out that working class background. Because you're right, you're discriminated against,
And it's not just, it's not even discriminated against. I think the big problem what you've got is, okay, I was in Little Boy Blue. I'm in work the next day in Argos. I might have an audition come through. I've been working a 12-hour shift. Then I've got to go and learn lines. Then I've got to get someone to cover my shift for tomorrow so I can go to this audition. Whereas, and it's not their fault. I'm not slating them. I'm just saying that there is a privilege, and it is in any walk of life. And you're the underdog, aren't you? You're the underdog.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to that opportunity. They've got the opportunity to do it, and it's difficult, but. Yeah.
What are the perks that nobody talks about? It's got the good stuff.
Perks?
Yeah, the perks. What's the best thing you've ever been gifted? From a brand, production?
I don't know, you got me half price on my car.
You try to sell them dodgy deals.
Yeah. I don't know, that was a touch. No, I'd say the best thing, my mum loves it all.
Yeah.
And she done did you watch the ITV show at the Palladium? It was about 3 years ago when a new album came out. And
it was like an audience with...
It was an audience, it was an audience with. So my publicist phoned me up and he was like, your mum loves Adele, doesn't she, Jay? And I was like, yeah. Do you want to go? But you can't tell no one. I was like, Mum, do you want to go watch Adele? Well, she started crying. She was like, what? The new album? People had only ever heard one song off the album. That was like, Go Easy on Me. So I'd been split up from my ex for not long, like probably like a month or two, 3 months, something like that. Well, no, it was probably more, probably like, I don't know, it was anyway. Yeah. So I said to my mum, we'll go, not realising it was all going to be about heartbreak and all that. So,
just start crying.
Yeah. So we go to the Palladium and they're like, yeah, Jay, you got to walk the red carpet with your mum. My mum was like, what, I'm walking the red carpet? And I was like, yeah. So we go in there, we go on the Palladium, and you've got like Graham Norton and Josie was there, and big celebrities, Idris Elba and all that. So me and my mum just stood in the corner, and over walks Stormzy. Now I'd met Stormzy a few times, and I don't really say, oh yeah, I've met him and all that. And he goes, Joycey, and I'm like, what's happening, Big Mike? He comes over and he just grabs my mum and kisses me. Mum, he's like, this Mummy Joyce, and I was like, yeah. My mum's just going, oh, Stormzy, my daughter won't believe this. So she got to see Adele and they take your phones off you and everything. And we were sat behind Boy George and like Phil Schofield. You can't mention him, no, we were behind it. And it was great because like, not a lot of people get to do that. But the embarrassing thing about it was she's going on about heartbreak and I'm going, sat there, you know what I mean, crying. She was amazing. Yeah, that's the coolest thing I've ever been able to do, is take me mum to that. I love that.
That's pretty cool.
Because that's a priceless moment. Yeah, you can have all the money in the world, but you've got to be invited to that.
Yeah, you got to be someone, haven't you, to get there. Know someone that knows someone to get there.
Yeah. How have you managed to kind of navigate not really losing who you are kind of along the way?
Oh, my dad wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
My dad just would not allow that. Yeah, he wouldn't. My pops would not have that. Like, my dad's idea of a proper meal is a chippy. You know, I could take
curry sauce,
chips, the lot.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, fucking illuminous, you know what I mean? Like illuminous curry.
Mushy peas.
Yeah, like I could say to me dad, oh, should we go here, should we go there? And he goes, what's wrong, I want to eat that shit for? You know, and to keep you grounded. My sisters would never allow it. Like, you don't get too big for your boots, do you? You know,
and it's your upbringing, your background, and people around.
I wouldn't want to do that either. I wouldn't want to.
Of course.
It detracts from who you are, doesn't it?
I would hate for someone to go, oh, he's forgot himself. Who the fuck does he think he is? Oh, I would hate that. I mean, I'd be embarrassed that my family would, and my mates.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you feel like every day you step out the house you've got to kind of put on an act because people? No, you don't feel like you've got to be on your best behaviour?
No, because all right, we might be rough and ready, but I was dragged up right. Yeah. Always you please and you thank yous and you say hello and you know, and that's from my mum and dad. So I'm always polite, or I'd like to think I'm polite. And I would never say if someone said, oh, can I have a picture or you? I'd be like, yes, yeah, you know. Or I could never do that because at the end of the day, I remember being a kid and going up to Jamie Carragher and going, oh, Jamie, will you sign my shirt? And he was like, yes, and made me love him even more. And then I remember going up to one particular Liverpool footballer and he was rude and I just thought, you're a prick. You know, and it's always stuck with me, and maybe he was having a bad day or maybe there was something going on, but it just stuck with me. And I just thought, well, look, we're all human, we all have bad days, but I would hate, you know,
to be in that situation.
Yeah, because word spreads in Liverpool, doesn't it?
Still get a reputation, do you?
Yeah.
So, when it came down to, you know, starting to actually get paid what you consider to be a proper wage, where it doesn't all go off on other people. How did you navigate that initial, like, so what do I do?
You. I
Because they don't tell you that, do they?
No. Fucking hell. When I first met Josh, he was like, you owe 6 years tax. I was like, what do I have to pay? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, sorry, like, because I didn't know what limited company was, didn't know what VAT was, didn't know all these things. And so,
and Disney was paying you a small fortune at that time.
Disney was paying me a small fortune. I remember when the offer came in and my agent was like, he sat down, I said, yeah. She said the amount and I was like, oh my God. And then she was like, yeah, but we can get them for more. And I was like, no, that's fine.
Take it.
Yeah, take it. And she was like, no, we can get more. And then she came back and, you know.
She got more.
Yeah, she nearly trebled it. And I was like, fucking hell, this is going to change mine and my family's life. But that's the other thing then is, so this came in and I didn't realise, fucking hell, that's not all my money.
Yeah, you don't realise, yeah.
Only half of that's mine, or, you know. And
your agent takes the fee, and the VAT man takes the fee, and the tax man takes the fee.
I didn't know all this. I'm so by the time, like, you think I've got a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But I was going, oh my God, I'd love to go on this holiday. I want to fly business. I want to do all those things, you know what I mean? And look at me, do you know what I mean? I'm not the type of lad that wears, like, you know, Gucci and all that. Like, I don't really spend money on myself.
He's been gifted a watch, by the way, that he...
I don't even wear it. No. I've never worn it.
Sat at home collecting cobwebs.
Yeah.
This should never go out because we want to get gifted more, but...
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not...
You're not that sort of materialistic sort of...
I'm materialistic.
Yeah.
I never have been, never will be, like...
But the finance part is important because I think people don't realise it, and I think it goes back to kind of drama school. I'm pretty sure that's not taught. You're not taught any of that because ultimately you're self-employed.
Yeah.
You're a business.
Yeah.
And it matters.
Yeah, and it matters.
It matters a lot. It matters a lot.
And it's nice to have the stress taken off you as well.
And the amount of actors that we come across that it's the same situation as you in that they didn't actually realise they had to file a tax return.
Yeah.
No one knows that.
Didn't have a clue.
Because nobody told it.
Yeah.
Production company don't care, agent don't care, no one cares. Just like they get paid and it's up to you to deal with it.
And some will even get bad advice. One of, won't mention one of your mates, but was told, oh no, don't bother with a limited company, just get all the money paid to you as income tax. Sorry, as income, which to me is the most bizarre thing you'll ever hear when you see the numbers involved. You're like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But, you know, has any of that kind of come along the way where...
I come from a background where it's like, we've not really had much money. So, we've not really known what to do with it when you get it, you know. It'd go on bills and it'd go on your school uniform and then it'd go on this, that and the other, and you go to Sainsbury's and you'd make your shop work, and mum would put petrol in the car, dad would put petrol, and then you get by. So I didn't ever know what it was really like to have money, and I don't think anyone really ever has in my family, like to have, you know, life-changing money. And I remember getting this money and I remember thinking, oh my God. Just didn't know what to do with it though. Like, I just wanted to buy things for people, I wanted to, like, you know, sort people out, and I'm still quite bad for that now. But the beauty of it is, having money really is the freedom it gives you.
Yeah.
And that's not me saying I'm a multi-millionaire, by the way. But if I wouldn't have been educated by yous, I'd probably be skint. I'd be buying stupid things, and yous have helped me educate. And yous are always on the end of the phone, like, oh, what do we do with this, what do we do with that, like. And I'm not the best on my phone, but it is nice to know, oh, what does this mean, or what do we do with that bank account? And American Express, for example, like, for every point you get, every pound you spend, you get a point, and all that gear, like, bet your half of Liverpool doesn't know about that. I bet you they don't, because they're not taught. But you go down in London, the first, I remember working in Argos, I know Barry's boot camp, and I remember every client going, do you take American Express? Do you take American Express? I'm thinking, what the fuck is this American Express? It's fucking Barclays up in Liverpool, you know what I mean, or Halifax. But now I know why, because of the benefits that come with it.
But it's all the little things that sort of add up, and you know, and just having a trusted financing, because ultimately, you know, when you're small, it's fine, but when you get bigger and bigger, you know, you just said you're basically been filming back to back for the last 2 years. You don't have time to deal with your finances, you know, and it just doesn't even, you know, you just get paid and you think, oh well, I'll deal with that later, because it's not important.
I've always been in the mindset, as long as I can afford an Nando's at the end of the week, then I'm sound, I'm simple going, like, I mean, my missus isn't, but that's another kind of fish. But
not the mom, mate.
Yeah, so it is nice to know that it's safe in your hands, because if it was in my hands, it'd probably be in everyone else's hands. You know, there's so many working class actors, working class footballers, working class who end up broke. And you're going, how the fuck have you ended up broke?
And you've earned more money in that time than most people ever see in their life.
Yeah.
So you think, how?
How have you done it?
Certainly footballers, certainly footballers of that, because the amount of money they earn in such a short period, and there's bad advice, people hangers on, family members draining them, and they have the right advice around them. So, any sort of aspiring young actors, Scouse actors that we've got, would you have any sort of specific advice?
Don't try and be what you think an actor is. First and foremost, I remember when I auditioned for Shameless, the drama school said to me, now go to the office up in Manchester in smart trousers and a shirt and shoes. And bear in mind, they'd said to me in the first year of drama school, get rid of your accent. You'll never work with a Scouse accent. That's what they
Is that what he told you?
Yeah. So I go into this audition now for Shameless, right? And I sit there, I've got my legs crossed, and I'm talking like this the whole time, and I'm going, yeah, I love Shakespeare, and I love this, that, and the other, and I'm, you know, doing all that. And David goes to me, listen, mate, he's like, stop this act. I'm like, what? He was like, I came to watch you in a play last week. He said, and I saw you on the table, you know, giving it. He's like, you're a Scouser, aren't you? I said, yeah. He went, take your shoes off, undo your shirt. He went, just make yourself at home. He went, what do you like? And I was like, what do I like? And he was like, oh, the footy, Liverpool, like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, tell me about the game you've gone to. Put your feet up on the table. So all of a sudden, and he said to me at the end of the interview, the audition, he just said, look, James, he said, there's only one you. He said, there's no one else like you. He said, but there's kids coming out of drama school who are being told, you know, be posh, sit up straight, and all this gear. He said, you can only ever be yourself. He said, obviously when it comes to the acting part now, yeah, you take on another character and yeah. But a big part of acting is you sat in a makeup chair, you're in discussions with writers, producers, you're in the rehearsal room, they're working with you. They want to work with that person. They don't want to work with someone who you think it is. So I'd always say to someone, don't say what you think the director wants. Say what you actually think it is when you read the script. Don't just try and, you know, fluff their egos, because half the time they don't want to hear it or they don't know themselves. And that would be my biggest advice. I think a lot of people in this industry say things because they think it's the right thing to say. Whereas if you say your opinion, then they go, okay.
But that goes back to the point, doesn't it, of actors, because it's such a it's not a very well paid gig until you get to the top. It's not, and they're being desperate to get a job, so they feel they're under pressure to say the right thing and get that job. Yeah, you know, it's a tough industry. Yeah. It's tough, and I don't think unless you're in it or around it, people don't. If they think you're on telly,
exactly you've got it made, and that's the end of that. What's the future?
So I've got January. I've got 1,000 Blows coming out. Then February, March, I've got Black Mirror coming out on Netflix. Then I've got a film I've done with Andrea Arnold, who is, I think, the only female director to ever have 3 films. She's the only director to have 3 films win Best Film at Cannes. Oh. She's fantastic. So I've got that coming out. And then March, April, I've got ThisCityIsOurs coming out, which is a Scouse drama. Well, it's conflict of someone who's in the drug world who falls in love, and it's a choice between what he wants, and a lot of conflict that comes the way. You've been on set, you know. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But it is fantastic. I'm working with Sean Bean again, and
so quiet then.
I am in need of a holiday. I am in need of a holiday. He goes to me, we going to LA? I was like, I haven't even got time to go to that. I've got a screening to go to, I've got ADR, I've got this, that and the other.
Just invited me to LA.
Well, he's got to work, hasn't he? Hollywood.
Yeah.
Busy.
Jay, appreciate it, mate. Thanks so much, mate. Really appreciate it.
And thank you for everything you do for me as
well.
Oh,
you're welcome, mate. You're welcome.
A wrap.